Alright, we're on. We're live. So, I basically got the idea to even do this kind of stream in the first place is because recently, I guess to pass the time, I was watching some Nikachu MTG's, like, similar videos where he was looking at various Magic the Gathering cards created by artificial intelligence and just going through them and having chat also decide if those cards could ever get printed into the real game or if they should be quote-unquote shredded. So I kind of just really want to do the same thing but with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Because I remember there was also like a Twitter account running basically what generates AI-generated Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Yeah, someone made this Twitter that generates Yu-Gi-Oh cards using GPT-2. This unsupervised deep learning transformer-based language model created by OpenAI. Yeah, apparently this stuff started really taking off in like 2019, 2020. So basically this thing has been trained on a bunch of text and has been taught to just generate more text based on what it's seen already. So my guess is that, like, the AI must have read like millions upon millions of lines of text beforehand. But for this AI, obviously it's just instead been trained on probably like every Yu-Gi-Oh card ever printed and probably has been instructed to look at them like thousands of times for training. So we'll just assume that this AI that is going to make these Yu-Gi-Oh cards we're going to be looking at tonight has probably maybe seen like just about every Yu-Gi-Oh card that exists. If not like at least a good fraction of them. And probably had to just look at them like thousands of times. Faster, far faster than any human could ever hope to do. Alright, so let's get started. I'm gonna just start scrolling down. Eventually I'll start just scrolling down like faster and then just like stopping at a random point. And then just looking at the card in question. So we're gonna start off with a Sky Striker Ace card. I'm gonna try my best. I've only been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For like a year. Not counting like the... Well, I could also count the years I spent playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the 2000s where the game was just drastically different and far more simpler than what it is now. So if there's like anything that would be of relevance for me to determine like whether a card is like worthy to print or is just downright broken, that happened like in the last 10 years, I'm simply just might not even be aware of it at all. So let's start with Sky Striker Ace Yarwit, Machine Link Effect, one non-light Sky Striker Ace monster. Wait, Rose is light, so Rose can't summon Yarwit. I'm just gonna quickly look up something here. I'm like 100% sure she's light attribute. Yep. So you cannot use this to go into Yarwit. Okay. If this card is special summon, you can draw one card. If a normal or special summon monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish one machine monster from your hand or graveyard instead. You can only special summon... I see this thing really just took from all the other Sky Striker Ace cards that actually are real, this AI. You can only special summon like any Sky Striker Ace monster once per turn, and this one is no exception. I see this thing definitely picked up on that. Alright, so special summon, you can draw one card. I mean, a lot of the Sky Striker... I think basically every Sky Striker Ace monster upon summon gives you some card advantage. Shizuku just lets you draw cards at the end of the turn, often like multiple. Kagari gets you like a spell from the graveyard to the hand, I'm pretty sure. Hayate can let you put a spell from your deck from the graveyard. This one just lets you like draw a card. If normal special summon monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish one machine from your hand or graveyard instead. I don't see anything that's relevantly... I don't see anything that just jumps out immediately towards me as like this card is just bonkers, like completely broken, like you can never print it. I'm not even 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this card would be fine. I think this one will be okay. I think. DDD, High King, DDD. I can't read Japanese. Japanese. Faithful? Okay, I have to read like 2 boxes of text. It's a pendulum card. So when it's in the monster zone, quick effect, you can target one face-up monster on the field, return both that target and this card to the hand. And this is a hard once per turn. Okay, if it's in the spell or trap card zone, if you used it to like try and set up a pendulum scale instead, once per turn, you can target one DD monster you control, return both that target and this card. Wait, once per turn, and then once per turn, so it's still a hard once per turn, isn't it? No need to have like both of these on the same effect. It's like soft hard. At first I was reading this and was thinking maybe like this could easily be abusable if it's a soft once per turn, the ability to just like bounce cards back to your hand indefinitely and then just keep drawing. Until I just kept on reading where it's just says that it's where it just says you can only use this effect once per turn, so it's a hard once per turn. Which I think already that, I don't know. Oh no, come on, give me like an easy one where it's just so blatantly overpowered, like no way we could ever print that. Yeah, I don't really see this deck like too often anymore, so, and also secondly, like, I don't really know shit about pendulum monsters. I hardly ever see like pendulum decks in the first place, so I'm probably just gonna read this over in my head a couple more times. So of course you can just put this back in your hand, then draw the card of course, and then just play this back into your spell trap zone, or you could put it in the monster zone as your normal summon, or special summon even. Nothing is jumping out at me at the moment, saying that this is just too good to print. Well, maybe just change the name. The name, though, on the other hand. Who's gonna say DDD High King DDD this faithful? Yeah, I just can't exactly get behind the name. Obsidian Sea, the True Draco King. To tribute summon this card face up, you can contribute continuous spell trap cards you control, as well as monsters. Unaffected by the effects of monsters. Other monsters cannot attack, and monsters can't be tributed for a tribute summon. Once per turn during your main phase, you can target up to 3 cards on the field. Destroy them. Yo. So if you just like can get this... Well, you can just special summon this thing, right? If you could just find something to easily special summon this to your board, and then you could just blow up 3 of your opponent's cards, that just gives you, like, that definitely puts you really far ahead if you can just, I don't know, get this out, like, very easily. Or at least just use up very few cards in the process. It looks like it's definitely intended to be played in True Draco, where they don't really have an extra deck, and they mostly just, like, tribute summon with, quite frankly, cards in their spell trap zone. Unaffected by the effects of monsters. Other monsters can't attack. Monsters can't be tributed for a tribute summon. In a deck that's about tribute summoning. And I can only think of, like, maybe 2 other decks, aside from this, that are about tribute summoning. Monarchs, and definitely most notably, Flaunderies. Obsidian Sea, the True Draco King. Just, you can't tribute summon. Just, fuck you, Flaunderies. I almost want to just say yes, printed, because I really, like, just dread that matchup every time it comes up. Like, they put the Wind Barrier statue down. My deck is all about special summoning, like, high-level monsters quickly, but under that, like, I can't really do so. And not to mention, they can just generate stupid amounts of card advantage on my turn as well as theirs. Okay, we get it. Pretty sure you get it by now, like, I just dread Flunderies having to play against it. Unaffected by monster effects. Other monsters can't attack. Destroy up to 3 cards on the field. Each main phase. And it's a... Okay, let's say if you just... I don't know, somehow blink this, assuming, like, blinking cards in Yu-Gi-Oh's a thing, where you just somehow get this off your field, then get it back onto your field, if you want to pop 3 more cards, you can, because this is a soft once per turn. No. I think that's a little too, like, much for 1 card. The Primordial Chain. Each time a monster is normal special summoned, place 1 chain counter on this card for each monster summoned this way, okay? While a chain counter is on this card, you can only use 1 the Primordial Chain monster effect per chain counter. What is this? This is an archetype that literally doesn't exist. Primordial Chains. I mean, it sounds cool, but it's just not a thing. It's not real. Also, while the chain counter is on this card, you can only use like 1 Primordial Chain monster effect per chain counter, which just, why would you limit like how many monster effects you could use within your own archetype? And this card literally does nothing else. I don't know, unless you want to unless there's another archetype that exists that you can just like make use of just a shit ton of counters. Let me see something. Unless there's some archetype that just make like use of a lot of counters, because sometimes, yeah, like depending on the decks that are being played. Considering like both players' summons are going to put counters on this card. If there's just like some cards that can just use like large numbers of counters in general, then I see the use for that, but then there's like this second like sentence that's just, why is it even on the card? Gameplay and terminology, I don't need to look at this. Counters. All the different types of counters. Anti-support. Oh, I heard something about Endymions being an archetype that can just make use of large amounts of counters, but these ones are chain counters. And now that I vaguely remembered they exist. Like, I think they basically need like spell counters, not like just any kind of counter in general. Looking for Endymion. I don't know if these guys only deal with spell counters, because if they do, then they can't actually use the counters off the chain. So, I don't know, unless there's just some cards I've literally never heard of. I mean, I've been out of the loop for 10 years, so there probably is. I'm just gonna say no. Don't bother printing it. What is this? We got Nefarious Velma over here. 2 level 1 monsters. So she's a water attribute aqua type. Xyz that requires 2 level 1 monsters. 0 attack, 0 defense. This text box better be good. When an Xyz monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, except during the damage step, you can attach this card from your hand or deck to that Xyz monster's material. But this is something that just has to basically reside in the extra deck unless it's like on the field or in the graveyard. So this should never be in your hand or deck, so you will never be able to attach this to... Why would you also want to put materials, Xyz materials on your opponent's monsters anyways? Unless there's just some niche case that I'm just simply not aware of. And even then, like, it's not like you can. Like, you literally can't, because this card can never exist in your hand or deck. When an Xyz monster you control declares an attack, you can banish this card from your field, then target 1/6 samurai monster in your graveyard. Attach that attacking monster. One of your monsters, attach that monster to this card that you just banished from your field, so it won't even be on the field anymore, so you can't attach it as material. Both of these effects are impossible to resolve. 0 attack, 0 defense. No. Ascending Courage, continuous spell. Select and special summon this card as a normal monster. Level 2, 0 attack, 0 defense. This card is also still a spell. So, a spell monster. Negate all trap card effects on the field. So, basically Royal Decree, but you can actually activate it the turn you draw it. Just literally just play this, and if it stays on the field, like, all your opponent's trap cards are shut down. If selected and summoned from the field, while it has spell attribute. Oh, you mean this spell attribute up here? And is in the graveyard. If summoned from the field, while it has spell attribute, let's just assume it always does. Just so this is easier to understand. If selected and summoned from the field. Summoned and in the graveyard, so it shouldn't be like in the graveyard if it was summoned. But it says summoned from the field, so what does that mean? I mean, it's a continuous spell, so the negate all trap card effect on the field. This could just get stopped, like, outright if it's removed from the field, and I'm pretty sure, like, I think even, like, your opponent would typically, like, have a chance to just activate and trap a response. They could chain a trap card that could just destroy this. Because this would actually have to, like, resolve first before trap card effects start getting negated, but I still feel like this line is just really silly, even though we don't really see, like, too many trap cards in modern-day Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, the game is just so fast. There's very little room for, like, trap cards to really exist in 2023 Yu-Gi-Oh! But I just want to, like, say, just fuck this card, throw it out, don't print it because of this last sentence here. That's what I'm gonna do. I can only go on. It is a continuous trap. And it's the insect... No, I was gonna say this was the insect queen. It's, I think, the perfectly ultimate great moth with the Pepe the Frog face on it. Okay, I want to just say yes for the art. I want to say yes for the art alone on this one. You can only activate this card while you control a level 6 or higher insect-type monster. Insects, from what I recall, don't get, like, too much support. And they have to be level 6 or higher on top of that, so... this better be, like, somewhat decent for the requirement to activate it. I mean, the right deck could definitely fit this in, but would it want to? Once per turn during your standby phase, pay 1,000 life points, or destroy this card. I'm gonna guess it's not optional. I know Imperial Order isn't optional. 700 life points during, like, each standby phase, so 1,400, like, across, like, both you and your opponent's turn, and it was still too powerful to have in the game. And this card actually literally does nothing, just makes you pay life points. Lose life points and achieve absolutely nothing for doing so. I mean, sure, but there are probably just so many, like, options out there. And even then, like, I haven't heard of a deck, or, like, a deck whose gimmick is to just make your life points as low as possible and just capitalize off of that anyways. I mean, like, in the past, there were decks like Self-Destruct Button, there were cards like that, and Life Equalizer that were being used to basically take advantage of the fact that you have, like, stupidly low life points, but there's just, like, better ways to just set your life points to a ridiculously low total to just basically make use of those cards effectively. Yeah, so for example, Self-Destruct Button is a card that, when you activate it, if your life points are less than your opponent's, and the difference between your own and your opponent's life points is 7,000 or greater, the game just ends in a draw. That card is currently forbidden. And yeah, because... yeah, that card is currently forbidden and for good reasons. Let's just say, like, a match is just going on for exceedingly long, and one player is currently, like, 1 game up. They could literally just theoretically just indefinitely just force draw games with self-destruct button if they've already, like, won 1 game in their match. Yeah, that was, like, a strategy when that card was legal. Very, like, toxic and unsportsmanlike, like, strategies and gameplay. And yeah, this card also just very easily lets you achieve the condition for self-destruct button, because there's no once per turn on inspection. You can just play this and make your life points 500, and then flip the self-destruct button, and just basically, like, the game's a draw. Nothing you do matters. The game's over. Yeah, there's, like, at least one other card out there that just lets you pay all your life points to have only 100 left, which also puts you really low and can thus let you just easily use self-destruct button. Yeah, just showing you some examples of cards that are just overall better at just setting your life points low to just make use of cards that are currently banned, and nobody likes those cards anyways. Wait, then again, like, can you technically use this if you don't have 6 samurais in your graveyard? Like, does there actually have to be 6 samurai for you to use this, though? I don't know. I think maybe there is. I think maybe there has to be. But still, I'm pretty sure I spent way too much time on Pepe, the perfectly ultimate great moth here. I'm just gonna say no, don't print. This shouldn't be printed into the actual game. This one's gonna take a while to process. Lifeless Lancer, a Psychic Synchro Union monster. Psychic type, Synchro monster, and a Union monster. We really, like, don't see many Union monsters anymore. Last time I recall seeing any being played against me, it was, like, the ABC monsters. One Psychic type tuner, one or more non-tuner monsters. Once per turn, you can either target 1 lifeless monster in your graveyard only. So, just as a reminder, you can only target 1 lifeless monster in your graveyard. In case, I don't know, maybe you just read past that part of the card's effect too fast, and for some reason you thought you could target more. So, only 1 lifeless monster in your graveyard. You can only target 1. I guess just ignore this. Target 1 lifeless monster in your graveyard. Equip it to your Valkyrian the Magna Warrior. Or unequip this card. Alright, it's a Union monster, so it can be equipped to another monster. And then special summon this. A monster equipped with this card is unaffected by your opponent's spell effects. Also, if the equipped monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead. If the synchro summon card you control is sent to your graveyard, you can add 1 lifeless monster from your deck to your hand. I'm gonna guess that's not a real archetype. There's one, yeah, I think this is the only quote-unquote lifeless card. And it's got nothing to do with psychic types or Union monsters at all. Monster equipped with this card. How would you get this? I don't, like, know how exactly you would get this equipped to one of your monsters to make it unaffected by your opponent's spell effects. Also, if the equipped monster will be destroyed by battle or card, yeah, I think more so like the unaffected by spell effects. That's probably like just more impactful than just like the battle or card effect protection. But even then, that's still pretty good. But then there's the part with the Valkyrian, the Magna Warrior, that just confuses me so much. The Valkyrian, the Magna Warrior, that has literally nothing to do with anything else on this card whatsoever. There's probably some way to get this much more easily cooked to one of your monsters, and I just don't know. I just don't know enough about Union monsters to make a solid decision on this card. I don't know. UA Kickstarter backer. Machine flip effect. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Then add them all to your hand. That's pretty good. Then return them to the top of the deck. Okay, never mind. Not anymore. It's not good. Gets your hopes up and then just dashes them like not even 3 seconds later. I really just want to say yes because I want to just say yes for the humor. No, though. I mean, like, there's technically nothing wrong with the card. Aside from the fact that just would make no sense to add cards to your hand to then put them right to the top of your deck. Then again, maybe you could print it, because it's not going to do anything that's going to, like, completely break... It's not going to completely break the format or anything. Bahamut's Knight. We got a warrior. Water... Okay, it should say fusion here, but it doesn't. So, we need 4 different monsters to summon this. We need his bodyguard, Bahamut, his head full of ghosts, and my body as a paladin to summon this. I don't know, unless you just keep this out of the extra deck with Cyberstein or something, because there's nothing here saying that you can't. And yeah, at this point, with monsters, with like 4 different monsters being required to fusion summon this, you probably would have to start cheating at the side of the extra deck, most likely. Yeah, 4 specifically named fusion materials. Unless, I don't know, maybe like one of these 4 cards. Then again, none of these exist, so we would just have to like basically leave it all up to speculation, like as if like if one of these 4 cards like would exist or something and would be like insanely good. I think there's a card called Fusion Deployment that lets you just like reveal a fusion monster in your extra deck or something, then just go grab one of the fusion materials if its name is specifically listed on that card. Well, let's just assume like none of that is relevant because these cards don't exist. At the end of the battle phase, if this card destroyed an opponent's monster by battle, you can tribute 1 face-up warrior or beast monster. You can only tribute your own monsters, right? Whose original attack and defense is different from its current attack or defense. You can only use this... Why would you tribute your own monsters? Yeah, I destroyed your monster. I'm just gonna go get rid of one of mine because I kind of feel bad. I don't know, unless maybe, like, this would just fit into an archetype that's all about... I don't know. This one's weird. I really don't understand, like, why you tribute, like, your own monsters. And specifically, like, they have to have, like, their attack or defense changed for them to be, like, viable to be tributed. And even then, like, why would you, for the most part, want to tribute your own monsters? Again, I really don't know, like, if this card would be okay to be printed. Probably no, though. Honestly, probably just no. I mean, I guess you could, but no one would ever use it. I want to say, like, print this. Under the knowledge that it's probably never going to see any actual use, most likely. Or it could maybe just be like that kind of card that just gets completely broken like 10 years down the line when the tributing of monsters actually becomes relevant in like a specific archetype. I don't know, I see this being like that kind of card that gets printed, no one ever touches it because it's so bad, and then 10 years later, or maybe even like more than 10 years later, a new archetype comes out and then suddenly like this thing becomes broken. I'm still gonna say no, though. Still gonna say no to printing that. It's a little too, like, unorthodox. Shadow Knives. If you control Dark Magician Girl, target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. I'm pretty sure this card won't do anything. Cool, like, old school, like, dual monsters, nostalgia bait. Sure. I'd be definitely okay with this being printed into the actual game. Definitely be okay with that. Winged Dragon of Twilight. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned by removing from play one Dark Dragon monster. That's pretty easy to special summon. Yeah, it's pretty easy to just... Yeah, this should be pretty easy to get on the field. Dark Dragon monster in your graveyard. Dragon Link has a lot of Dark Dragon monsters they just go through. Like their water to just basically do their normal plays. So this will just be, like, so far, an easy to summon 4000 level 10 beater. I could maybe even see, like, the 10 stars coming into play for some, like, rank 10 shenanigans. During your main phase, you can select one Dark Dragon monster in your graveyard except the Winged Dragon of Twilight, assuming you run multiples of these, and banish it? Okay, just banish your own monsters. It's not a quick effect or anything either, so just remove your monsters from the game. When your opponent activates an effect of a monster destroyed by battle, while this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card. Oh no, interesting design. But I mean, I'm definitely familiar with monsters with lots of attack that are easy to summon. I play Grenmachu, so of course, like, I'm somewhat knowledgeable on the subject. I mean, like, Grenmachu sometimes just laughs at, like, only 4000 attack monsters. But still, like, I can see just about, like, any deck having a very easy time summoning this. Wait! I just remember, like, fucking everyone who can play Bystials is playing Bystials. Those are Dark Dragons. Basically, everyone's just playing these, like, very generic dragon-type monsters that can just banish, like, dark monsters out of their opponent's graveyards, typically just to try and stop Tier Lens players from going off. Basically, nearly everyone is playing Bystials, myself included, so... just about any deck could technically jam this in there, too, if it wanted. I mean, the effects on the card aren't that spectacular. It's more or less like the level 10, maybe, but more so the 4000 attack. That basically, like, anyone... I can see anybody just jamming a 4K beater in their deck, banishing a card from their graveyard they wanted to play anyways just to fight tier limits. No, don't print it. I was basically just leaning towards no as soon as I just thought about the Bystials being in nearly everyone's deck. Lyrilusk, Shining Star. Winged Beast exceeds effect. 2 level 4 Winged Beast monsters. I'm not an expert on Lyrilusk monsters, so... it's probably gonna maybe take me some time to just decide on this one. Or I might just, like, not even bother, like, saying, like, print this or don't print it. 2 level 4 Winged Beast monsters. If this card's destroyed by battle, you can declare one attribute. This card gains attack equal to that attribute. Okay. If this card's destroyed by battle, then it's gonna be in the graveyard, so what's the point of giving it more attack? It's in the graveyard. No, let's say, like, if it was still on the field. I declare Dark. This card is going to gain Dark attack. That makes no sense. You can only use each of the following effects, so let's just keep reading. I'm probably gonna say no, but let's just keep reading. If this card succeeds summon, you can special summon one Lyrilusk monster from your deck. Then you can, if your opponent controls more spells or traps than you do, either detach one material from an Exceeds monster you control. I don't know why you do that. If you could just instead add a Lyrilusk monster from your deck to your hand, after special summoning one from your deck, and if this card's Exceeds summoned, you can special summon one... wait. You do this one first, right? And then this one? So I summon this. I special summon some monster out of my deck. I'm not too knowledgeable about the archetype. Then if your opponent controls more spells, traps than you do, just, I guess, ignore the first part about detaching materials. Just add a monster from your deck to your hand, which you could just special summon that monster from your hand, so if I get 2 level 4 winged beasts out, then I summon this, and then I can just get any 2 Lyrilusks out of the deck. I don't know. I guess if you were to, like, take this first, like, bit of text off the card, that literally just can't matter because you can't gain, like, an attribute amount of attack, or better yet, like, this thing's supposed to be dead and likely in the graveyard if it was destroyed by battle. So, I mean, the rest of the card, I would definitely be, like, a little interested to see, like, what this card would do if it was just, like, this stuff, like, left on the card, like, the bullet points. I'm still gonna say no, though. I was still really thinking about saying yes. Dudley's Duel, quick play spell. When a monster declares an attack, target 1 monster on the field except the attack target. So the attack target being like, okay, I have a monster. Okay, I'm just gonna get like 2 Yu-Gi-Oh cards out. Just so I have an easier time understanding this one. So when a monster declares an attack, target 1 monster on the field, except the attack target. So if I have like a monster attacking my opponent's monster, and my opponent were to use Dudley's Duel, they'd have to target something other than what my monster is currently attacking. So except the attack target, change the attack target to it, 1 monster on the field, except the current attack target, change the attack target to it. So let's say if I were to have like another monster on my field, so Dudley's Duel would theoretically be able to make one of my monsters attack one of my other monsters? No, better yet, target 1 monster on the field that's not the attack target of the monster attacking, so what the fuck is supposed to happen when a monster attacks itself? You can theoretically make a monster attack itself. How would that play out? And if you do, as long as the monster remains on the field after attacking itself, does it just like die if it attacks itself? Because let's just assume that, I don't know, like a monster with 1800 attack being forced to attack itself is equivalent to like it crashing into another monster with 1800 attacks, so it would just die if we just go by that logic. Or you can make, like, one of my monsters attack one of my other monsters, so they would just basically, like, the weaker monster would die. And as long as the monster that was targeted remains on the field, the attacking monster cannot change its battle position, assuming it didn't just die in the battle first. Yeah, I have a feeling like this card would cause some ruling nightmares. That or Konami would literally just have to write a new section in the rulebook just to accommodate this. I love the idea of monsters attacking themselves, though. I just love the idea of something just like killing itself. No, what the fuck did I just say? Altergeist Korai. I don't know if I should skip this one because I'm really not knowledgeable about Altergeist. All I know is like they're very trap heavy. It's a very trap focused archetype, which makes sense that this card is mentioning trap cards. Once per turn, you can target 1 Altergeist card in your graveyard. Banish that target, then if you do, set 1 Altergeist trap directly from your deck. So that target has to stay in the graveyard to be banished. If something is chained to Korai that banishes the target of Korai's effect, then you're not gonna go get set the card out of your deck. Interesting. If this card's sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Altergeist monster in your graveyard except this card. Special summon that target. You can only use this effect of Altergeist Korai once per turn. Okay, this is a soft once per turn, the set from the deck, and the second effect is a hard once per turn. Yeah, nothing here jumps out at me as like this card would just break Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, Altergeist don't really see much play, especially in 2023 with very like limited space to just basically like brew decks with cards like Bestials and Shizu Tears running around. So I think this one's fine. Yeah, it's really tough to get like creative in this meta with just Bestials and Shizu Tears running amok. This is going to be interesting. Mathmech Vortex. Yeah, I never did actually get around to actually playing the Mathmech deck. It was basically like this plan B or something in case Grenmashu became like a non-viable option. It's more like Mathmech became less viable than Grenmashu somehow. I guess just blame the Bestials. If this card is Synchro Summoned... Okay, so it's a level 7 Synchro with entirely generic materials for Synchros. If Synchro Summoned, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of Mathmech monsters you control and or in your graveyard. Let's just assume that Mathmech was still like full power and didn't have to contend with Bestials. This card is Synchro Summoned. If they start like working in ways to get like level 3 tuners onto the field easily, because a lot of the Mathmechs are just like, basically all of them are level 4 as like the main deck ones. So just like pick the best level 3 tuner and work it into the strategy somehow, I guess. Can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of Mathmech cards monsters you control and or in your graveyard. I mean, the deck wants to fill their graveyard with Mathmech monsters anyway if they're playing Super Factorial, so let's just assume there's gonna be like typically 3 Mathmech monsters in the graveyard like by default anyways. And then like return up to like 3 cards to the hand. Like let's just assume like there's 3 cards in the graveyard. Oh, right, this thing counts itself, so guarantee with Mathmech Vortex, it's a guarantee you're going to be like returning at least 1 card from your opponent's field to their hand, assuming this isn't negated or anything, or isn't removed from the field like on summon. It has to target the cards, but still, dang, that's pretty crazy. I can very easily see this returning like up 4 or 5 cards from the opponent's field to the hand if they have that many. Given this is in an archetype that likes to just fill its graveyard with Mathmech monsters as a Super Factorial. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Mathmech non-Cybers monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. Also, any battle damage your opponent takes becomes doubled until the end of this turn. And that's a hard once return on that summon. Mathmech non-Cybers monster. I was about to say, like, those don't exist, but I don't know. Maybe, like, play Zombie World in your Mathmech deck if for some reason you want to get the second effect of this card to go off, because then you'll have a Mathmech non-Cybers, because it'll be zombie type instead. Special summon it, banish it when it leaves the field. Also, any battle damage your opponent takes becomes doubled this turn. This is a very interesting card. This is really interesting design. Really making me think, like, do I want to, like, would I be okay with this coming out, like, in the future or not? I mean, if it's broken, just ban it. Like, if the players break it, ban it. Red Racer. Okay. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must be special summon from your hand by sending 1 face-up ritual monster and 1 face-up fiend monster you control the graveyard, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. This better be good if, I don't know, requires you to send ritual monster from your field to the graveyard. Literally the only ritual deck that comes to mind that's even like remotely viable in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Drytron, and even then, like, they've fallen off hard because of Bestials banishing their light monsters in the graveyard. Like, the one ritual deck that comes to mind that's actually, like, somewhat viable, and they've just fallen off. I mean, there are megaliths, but Last time I saw those, like, they were also kind of just lumped in with Drytron. Drytron was there, too. During your opponent's turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. There's no once... Oh no, there's no once per turn on this. I don't see a once per turn on this. Okay, only during your opponent's turn, though, but still. That basically just limits them to, like, using, like, quick effects on monsters, quick play spells, trap cards that people don't use trap cards that often anyways. Every once in a while, sure, they do pop up, but definitely, like, less common than they used to be. When a card or effect is activated, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that card. Literally, no once per turn on it. You can just negate as many cards as you want, and just your opponent cannot play cards on their own turn. Just no. Unless they have Dark Ruler no more. Or they can just somehow super polymerization this away. This Fire Fiend monster. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle... Wait, but... It has question mark attack and defense. I see nothing saying that it's gonna have attack and defense based on some, like... I see nothing here that just, like, says what its attack and defense are supposed to be, so I guess those question marks, we just have to assume it's 0. Destroy a monster by battle with 0 attack. Sure, good luck with that. You can inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. If this card, that was synchro summoned, that can only be special summoned from your hand, it's a main deck monster. Sending one face up... Yeah. If this card was synchro summoned... I've had enough. When your opponent does anything. How about... No. Iron Core Luster. When a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated while you control a Kawaki Meru monster, and a Iron Core of Kawaki Meru is in your graveyard, negate the activation if you do destroy that card, then you can add 1 Iron Core of Kawaki Meru from your deck to your hand. I honestly kind of just forgot this archetype even existed. It premiered at, like, I think, like, the 4th set of 5D's era? I think Raging Battles when we started seeing the first ones of these. Yeah, I think it was Raging Battle. 4th set of 5D's era. So it's basically just a counter trap that just provides additional, like, card advantage, but only for Kawaki Meru monsters. And even then, like, you could pretty easily just... Well, I could pretty easily just kaiju over the Kawaki Meru monsters that they might have on board, and then this basically just becomes a dead card that turn, so... Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is fine. Yeah, this seems alright. I think we'll read this one too. Iron and Lance C963. Alright, it's a rock ritual. You can ritual summon this card with Iron Core of the Iron Cores. When your opponent activates a spell card, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Take control of that target while this card is face-up on the field. Wow, okay. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can banish up to 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard. Add 1 Miracle Fusion from your deck to your hand. I'm just reading the part about the spell card again. I mean, they could just, like, try to not activate spell cards until this thing is removed from the field. I mean, even then, pretty frequently, there's a lot of decks that basically just... Their spell cards basically just help them summon, like, more monster cards. There's still probably like lots of archetypes out there that don't really need their spell cards too badly up until like a certain point. They could just probably like try and find a way to get this off the field, or better yet, just like activate your spell cards while you have no monsters on the field. They can't steal anything. This thing's not too bad. I mean, it can be played around at least. Unlike this card here. I mean, this could also be played around, but only with very specific answers, and if you don't have them, then, well, you're shit out of luck. Mayakashi Winter. Continuous Trap. You can send one Mayakashi monster from your hand to the graveyard. Add one Mayakashi monster from your deck to your hand with a different original type than that monster sent to the graveyard. Let me check something. Mayakashi is an archetype of zombie monsters that debuted in... I thought they were like all zombie types, so every single like one of these cards is a zombie type, right? Yuki, Musume, the Ice Mayakashi, Shafu, Tsukahagi, Hajun, Daki, Yasha, they're all zombie types. Playing style. And they got like synchro monsters that... I'm like 99% sure these are all zombie type. Yep. Zombie, zombie, zombie. Yep. This card literally just doesn't work. From your deck to your hand. Unless, I don't know, maybe there's like a card effect just changing the types of monsters in the graveyard, similar to Zombie World, but that wouldn't work because we're talking about zombie types here. But even then, if you could just dump like... Yeah, even then, if you can just like search your deck for like a specific monster like 3 times a turn, that's pretty crazy. Even if it's like restricted to like the Mayakashi archetype. But even then, like, at first glance, the whole thing just falls flat on its face when you have to search for monsters with a different original type than what's in your graveyard. But they're all zombies. I'm just gonna say no. Ice Jade the Crystal Dragon. Warrior. Fusion effect. Not the first time I've seen a dragon that's not a dragon, and it certainly won't be the last. Ice Jade, C-Note, Eon Cradle, and 1 or more water monsters. Cannot be used as fusion material. Must first be a special summon from your extra deck by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. You do not use polymerization. The first time, each monster this card points to. But it's a fusion monster, so it doesn't have link arrows. Will be destroyed by battle each turn, is not destroyed. Once returned during the end phase of this card was special summoned this turn. Return it to the hand! Alright, sure, just summon it and then put it back in your extra deck at the end of the turn. I mean, this seems like just really silly design, and then I remembered like that's actually a thing on like... Yeah, basically like all the Neos fusion monsters, that's basically their thing. That they only stick around for 1 turn unless you have this field card called Neospace on field. Sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard, one of which could be any water monster, or it could be multiple water monsters. So let's just say if you're playing against the water deck, those don't really come up too much, and then you have this card on your field, you can just wipe your opponent's board if they're playing water monsters. You can basically just clear their board. Not even having to use a card in your hand. Well, aside from this monster that probably doesn't exist. You can theoretically just clear their board. Very, like, niche, obscure, like, tech against water monsters. I don't really see water monsters, like, doing too much these days, except for maybe Marincess. Sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard. That is really funny, though. Specifically against, like, water monsters. That's really silly. Really interesting design. you literally never need to, like, draw this. You just need to get, like, the named monster on your field somehow. Like, this card you literally never have to draw into to just, like, theoretically wipe your opponent's board if they're only playing water monsters. But then this card just puts itself back in the extra... Wait. It could just put itself back in the extra deck, and then you could just theoretically, like, try and summon it again later? It's really funny. Just imagining, like, specifically you having to go up against Marincess, and then you just basically wipe their board with this Ice Jade the Crystal Dragon that's not a dragon, apparently. Yeah, it feels like this would be a nightmare to just try and, like, deal with consistently, because it's in the extra deck. Like, how are you supposed to realistically, like, get rid of a card from the extra deck? I mean, you can, but there are very few ways of actually just doing that. There's, like, yeah, not too many cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That basically just let you specifically remove, like, cards out of, like, an opponent's extra deck that are, like that good. I mean, Kashtira has Unicorn, but that's, like, a specific archetype. And even then, like, they got, like, one water monster. Well, there's Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, but then you'd actually have to use up an extra deck slot for that. You'd have to have your own Ice Jade the Crystal Dragon. I mean, that design space is interesting, but this is definitely being more annoying in the sense that, keep in mind, like, you would literally never ever have to draw into this card to be able to just use it to, like, wipe your opponent's board, but if they're not playing, like, water monsters, then it doesn't matter. I don't know, like, maybe someone, like, really hates Marincess or something, I don't know. Super Dice It! Exclamation mark. It's an equip spell. Equip only to a machine monster. It gains 300 attack. Monsters destroyed by battle with it are returned to the hand instead of sent to the graveyard. Okay. Why would I want to just, like, bounce my opponent's monsters back to their hand where they could just probably summon them again? Or discard them or whatever? Why would I want to just give my opponents their monsters back? Unless, I don't know, like, you can just equip this to your opponent's monster. That is, I don't know, a machine type, coincidentally, if that comes up. And for some reason, if you're playing a deck that wants to have your monsters destroyed by battle and simultaneously returned to the hand, I can't think of a deck that wants to be doing this. And specifically would have to go up against machine monsters. This would be such a niche card if it came out. I literally see this card. I literally see a card like this being printed. For some reason, it's just some pack filler. I could literally see this coming out as pack filler that no one would probably ever play and whatnot. A card that just seems utterly pointless. I mean, there are actual cards like that just make you, like, do a double take on what you just read. For example, there's stuff like Spirit Elimination, where if monsters in your graveyard would get banished, if for some reason you want to, you're gonna just banish monsters you control instead as substitutes. I don't know why you'd want to do this. I don't know what this would achieve. They also have a spell card that can literally only specifically be activated during the standby phase as well. Well, by the way, both those cards are, like, really, really old. Yeah, most of, like, the weirdest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh's history tend to be, like, really old, tend to just, like, harken back to a time where Konami didn't exactly know what they were doing. They were kind of just still, like, figuring their game out. I don't know, maybe it makes me think that this would be, like, a card that would have come out in, like, the early 2000s. Like, I don't know, like, maybe, like, this is good? Okay, here we have Ignorance the Master of Chaos, Spellcaster. You can tribute summon this card by tributing one random card in your opponent's hand! Holy shit! If this card is normal summon or special summon, you can banish one card from your hand, then one monster from your graveyard, until at the end of this turn, its attack becomes half its current attack. And if it does, this card gains that... Okay, so let me read this. If this card is normal special summon, banish one card from your hand, then one monster in your graveyard. There has to be a card in your graveyard. You can't just banish, like... No, oh, what am I saying? The card in your hand goes to the banish pile, and so is the monster in your graveyard, so you can't just... You're not discarding the card, you're banishing it. What am I saying? Until the end of this turn, its attack becomes half its current attack. So, you mean this? So, it goes to 1150 attack. If I'm reading this correctly, its attack becomes half its current attack. So I assume they're talking about this. So it goes to 1150, and if it goes to 1150 attack, it gains that lost attack, so it goes back to 2300. Definitely by far the craziest thing on this card is you can tribute summon this by tributing one random card in your opponent's hand. I assume instead of just tributing your opponent's... Oh, instead of tributing your own monster. Tributing one random card in your opponent's hand. That's pretty crazy and all. I mean, the card is removed at random, and this doesn't let you just go look at your opponent's hand, so you're not, like, gaining any more, like, information on what your opponent's playing aside from, like, one card, but even then, like, you could just see one card and maybe still, like, depending on what it is, just figure out what your opponent's playing anyways, so... Even that one card could still give you some info on like what your opponent's playing. Like you play this is the very first thing you do in a turn. You normal summon this, tributing your opponent's random card in their hand away. And if you see something that's like locked into a specific... If you see something that typically is only found in like a specific like archetype, say Flaundereeze. If you tribute away like a Flaundereeze bird, then you'll know what your opponent's playing, pretty much. And, of course, they won't have that resource, also. The card's still removed at random, but even then, that's pretty crazy overall. And I guess we'll basically just ignore the rest of this text, because it just basically loses half its attack and then just gets it right back, which just puts it right back where it started, 2300 attack. I'm still gonna say no to printing this, though. But damn, that art is cool, though. Zephyr Saber, Iron Throne. 4 level 4 Light Dragon monsters to summon at rank 9. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can apply these effects. 4 level 4 Light Dragon monsters. Apply its effects in sequence based on the materials used. Rank 4, rank 3 or lower, rank 5 or higher, rank 6 or higher. 4 level 4 Light Dragon. I'm trying to picture, like... Unless maybe somehow, like, one of the Light Dragon monsters has an Xyz material attached to it? I don't understand what I don't understand what I'm reading here. So if you used a rank 4 somehow to summon this rank 9 that uses 4 Light Dragon monsters to summon a Fire Warrior, you can 1/3. You can literally 1/3. No, I didn't mean that. Alright, my soundboard's not working. Yeah, I quickly just threw this Python script together. Basically to just have my own soundboard. So if I press like 1 on my keyboard, you get the ding, the correct ding. Basically like when I want to just say that a card should be printed, and then like the... If I press 2, you get that sound. I guess we'll still just read the rest of the card. If you somehow use a rank 3 lore to summon this, you can just equip your opponent's level 4 dragon monsters to this. If you somehow get a rank 5 or higher and destroy all your opponent's monsters and inflict damage... Oh, wow. That right there could just OTK them pretty easily. Rank 6 or higher, this card gains 200 attack for each monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. The strongest this could ever be is 1200 attack. On a rank 9. Also, how do you get like rank 4s onto this rank 9 that you need like 4 level 4s to summon? None of this makes any sense. Okay. We got another Tearlaments card here. Tearlaments Kartaros. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand with no tribute. This reminds me of like the old, like the very first like erratas of the recruiters from like, I think, yeah, Magic Ruler. Like the Giant Rat, Shining Angel, Flying Kamakiri #1, UFO Turtle, Mother Grizzly, and Mystic Tomato. Yeah, on all of them, I think on their very first printings, like, they had in parentheses, no tribute is required for a level 5 or higher monster if you special summon it this way from the deck. They only special summon monsters with their respective attributes with 1500 or less attack, but you can special summon, like, level 5 or higher monsters without tributing. That's just basically, like, tributing monsters for, like, level 5 or higher. That's basically just restricted to, like, normal summoning. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand, deck, or field as material. You can only use each effect of Kartaros once per turn. Special summon from the hand, that's not that crazy, but if sent to the graveyard by card effect. So yeah, apparently Tearlaments needs fusion summon from the deck. No. Exactly what a tier 0 deck needs to start fusion summoning using monsters from the deck as material. Baby corn. Dark Beast effect. During your main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Your opponent can special summon as many level 4 monsters as possible with the same attribute from their deck. I'm definitely wondering like what this is supposed to achieve. I'm imagining it can maybe achieve something by suddenly giving them, like, as many monsters as they desire. But they could just choose to, like, not special summon. Like, let's just say if you somehow find a way to abuse the fact that your opponent just special summoned a bunch of monsters. They could just choose to summon none, right? As many as possible, so they could just summon 0? If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can make each player draw 1 card. If it just gets sent to the graveyard by any means. And we're in a format where the best deck just can easily mill like half its deck like it's no problem unless D-Shifter gets thrown down. Can make each player draw 1 card. So, like, you're not gaining any card advantage because your opponent's drawing 2. I don't know, print it. I want to see what happens. This card is good for the mind games alone. I'm just, like, wondering, like, how someone would take advantage of the fact their opponent just summoned a bunch of level 4 monsters. I'm, like, dead certain there's a way to just take full advantage of that. I can't read Arabic. Poseidon Trap Hole. When a face-up card or card effect is activated. Okay, so let me read this part again. When a face-up card or card effect is activated. So a face-up card or card effect. So let's just say, like, let's just simplify this as when a card effect is activated. Face-up card, so I guess that could be like a spell or trap or something. Or just any card's effect. So basically, if anything's activated, we'll just say banish 1 earth, 1 water, or 1 fire monster from your graveyard. Negate the effects of that card until the end of this turn. I was gonna say this is like infinite impermanence, but also applies to spells and traps. Dang. Except this can't be activated from the hand. Like, you have to basically just set it. And then only, like, after it's been set for, like, a whole turn can you actually, like, flip it up. It's a trap card, so that slows it down. Still, this is interesting design space. Banish 1 earth, water, or fire monster from your graveyard, but shouldn't be too hard, I assume, to meet those requirements? Considering you get to pick from 1 of 3 attributes. I'd be really interested still to see this card come out, but I don't know. That doesn't seem too overkill. Thermal Mech, Plasma. Machine Synchro. One tuner, at least one non-tuner machine monsters. Once returned during your main phase 2, so after you've attacked already, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. When a card or effect is activated, it'll destroy cards on the field. So, like, let's just say, like, Raigeki would wipe your entire board of monsters. You can banish one card from your opponent's extra deck. Oh, wow. Okay, so technically this would be another way to just deal with... Yeah, this would be like an out to the Ice Jade Dragon Warrior that we were talking about earlier. Yeah, so Thermal Mech Plasma could just... I don't know, before this gets summoned anyways. Before this would get summoned, Thermal Mech could just rip this out of the extra deck to negate the activation of the card that would destroy one or more of your cards. Oh, any cards. Negate activation, destroy that card. If this card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, by battle or card effect, unless you negated that, unless you stopped that from happening... Okay, there's like no once per turn on... This is a soft once per turn on the target one face-up card returned to the hand. When a card or effect is activated, banish one card from your opponent's extra deck face-up. Destroy that card. If this card is destroyed by an opponent's card, target one Thermal Fusion card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Thermal Mech Plasma once per turn, so... You're telling me there's no once per turn on the... If a card or effect that would destroy a card in the field is activated. They could play cards that just banish it or just spin it back on the extra deck or bounce it to the hand or something. Well, if that would just put it in the extra deck anyways. You banish one card from your opponent's extra deck face up, and if you do negate the activation, if you do that, destroy that card. Or your opponent just runs out of extra deck cards, but... Yeah, like... Most of the time, if you just lose, like, your entire extra deck, you're basically fucked anyways. That's why I'm still, like, just waiting on Scythe to get banned. Yeah, this isn't once per turn. You could just negate as many effects that would destroy this as possible, equal to the number of cards in your opponent's extra deck, all while removing your opponent's extra deck one card at a time, if for some reason, like, they just don't read this card properly, and then try and just blow it up again with one of their other, like, destroy spells, or whatever, destroy effects. Yeah, because you would assume something like this to be a once per turn, but no, it's not. You really had me there, though. Especially as a counter to the fusion monster, that can just basically nuke the board of water monsters. Resonant Greed, which is a normal spell. Send all cards in your opponent's hand to the graveyard. Destroy all cards your opponent controls. Okay, going first, Resonant Greed, you lose your entire hand. And if none of those cards can do anything in the graveyard, this is basically an auto win. I cannot just buzz this card enough. No way you could ever print this. I mean, even just something that destroys all your opponent's cards is pretty crazy, but I think the real kick in the balls is send all cards in your opponent's hand to the graveyard. Games would basically just be decided by, like, who could play their copy of this card first? I mean, sure, if you get it in your opening hand, but if you're forced to discard it because your opponent got to play theirs first... No, fuck this thing. Goki Iron Claw 3. One Goki monster. This is a link. If this card is link summoned, you can add one Goki spell or trap from your deck to your hand. I don't know what the possible targets for this are. Let me see, though. Archetype of Earth Warrior monsters. Wait, do they even, like, have any... Cage match? Okay, they probably do. Face turn, finishing move, grit. Okay, they do have spells. Apparently this one wasn't actually printed in the card game. You can target one Goki monster you control. Special summon one Goki monster from your hand. If you do, the targeted monster gains attack and defense equal to the targeted monster during damage calculation only. Link monster that was link summoned using this card as material gains, let's just say 500 attack. Also negate its effects. Also link summoned using this card as material. Your link monster, if you use this to link summon another link monster, it's gonna have its effects negated to gain a whopping 500 attack. Goki, Iron Claw 3, those are all hard ones for turns. I think the card's fine. It's definitely not like the last one we saw. The last one that basically just says, like, you win the game if you resolve this. Unless, I don't know, somehow, like, your opponent just has, like, a handful of cards that do something in the graveyard, too. I mean, like, this says send, so even if the cards that are, like, sent say, like, if discarded, they won't do anything, because this says send. Okay, sorry, we got a normal monster here. Firefighters. Water attributes. Pyro. Everyone is full of possibilities. Everything you do, moving forward, stopping, closing, opening, is all in your hands. Everyone is unstoppable. God, I love the inspirational flavor text on this. 400 attack, level 2 vanilla. I mean, if you were to print this, it would probably not, like, actually do anything. Most likely probably wouldn't do anything. It's got no abilities, only 400 attack, 200 defense. But, yeah, you gotta love that flavor text on it, though. Oh no, is this the name? The 4 heavenly beams are woven into the fabric of every being, and each has its own place in the world of minimizing the 4 heavenly flags of light. Oh my god! Holy shit. Yeah, this is all like AI generated, by the way, for anyone who might have forgotten. This was done by a machine. The 4 heavenly bears, beans are woven into the fabric of every bean, and each has its own place in the world of, minimizing the 4 heavenly flags of light. 4 dragon monsters from your hand and or field. Diffusion summon a 4500 attack, level 12, while the insects are invaded. The field monoliths reign supreme. What the fuck is going on? From the name to... how would you actually resolve this effect? While insects are invaded, how would you, like, properly resolve this effect? Using, like, any sort of Yu-Gi-Oh logic. Like, how do we resolve this? This could never be printed. I mean, I thought, like, number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy had a stupidly long name. I thought that was, like, just overkill. Yeah, especially, like, when you want to just put your deck list onto, like, this deck list for, like, regional qualifier. And I've done that, like, 3 times lately. I've went to, like, 3 regional qualifiers, and each time I had to fill out a deck list. Which eventually I figured I could just do so by typing it out on the computer. Which... that just made things a lot easier when it came time to write card names like number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, because yes, that is one of the cards I play. Yep, I actually do have that in there. Oh, and not to mention we also have cards like Dingirsu, the Orchestra of the Evening Star we gotta put on our deck list as well if we're playing like rank 8 Gren Maju. And because I have like a lot of like Xyz monsters I can easily go into and whatnot, and just because Zeus is so good. Divine Arsenal AA Zeus. Sky Thunder. I mean, if you thought those card names were like overkill, You were clearly not ready, for the 4 heavenly beings are woven into the fabric of every being, and each has its own place in the world of minimizing. The 4 heavenly flags of light. Oh, 4 heavenly beams. Of course I'm gonna misread it because of how tiny the text is. When the insects are invaded, the field monoliths reign supreme. Dragon's Throws, 2. Counter Trap. When a spell, a trap card, or monster effect is activated while you control 2 or more Sea Serpent monsters. So, Sea Serpent monsters, as in, since it's written in quotation marks, monsters with Sea Serpents in their name, not like Sea Serpent type monsters. Negate the activation if you do destroy it. If this card's in your graveyard, you can match 3, again, like Sea Serpent monsters with Sea Serpent in their name, not specifically Sea Serpent type. Add this card to your hand. You can only use this effect of Dragon's Throws 2 once per turn. Again, this is a situational, like, archetype-specific counter trap. I mean, Salamangreats have it, Orcas have it, Magickeys have it. Probably, like, several other decks have, like, their in-archetype counter trap. Well, Tier Elements does, of course. They can literally search the thing with these, too. Well, you control 2 or more Sea Serpent monsters, so if, like, those are removed before this card has a chance to activate, this thing is no longer alive, as I said earlier with the Iron Core Luster. Kaijus exist, they could just tribute over the monsters needed to have this card be alive. Or Lava Golem, better yet, because that could just, like, tribute 2 monsters at a time. That one comes up more often, too. Lava Golem, because it can remove 2 monsters at a time. And if you don't need your normal summon, then, well, the drawback doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I think this one's okay. S-Force Sweeper. Warrior. Light Warrior. Card is always treated as a satellite. Shadow Eye. Sky Striker Ace. Okay, we got a Sky Striker card, apparently. An S-Force Interceptor card. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand. By special summoning 1 level 4 or lower S-Force monster from your graveyard. Okay, if you just have the monster in your graveyard, then, well... I want to see if that's a real archetype. I'm gonna guess it is. S-Force... It is. Debuted in Blazing Vortex. So that was like in 2021, Blazing Vortex, right? Okay, I've definitely heard of Time Thief Redo or Psy-Frame Drive for an IP Masquerena. Those, I definitely know what those cards are. But I never heard of the S-Force archetype. So I'm pretty sure they have, like... Do they only have, like, these 3? Or 4? There's a level 4. There's a level 3. And a level 2 and a level 5. Okay. No wonder I don't know what these cards are. There's only 4 of them, apparently. Negate all other card effects on the field. Holy shit. Okay, so basically Power Crept Majesty's Fiend. That if you're playing some random like S-Force monsters, you can very easily get this on the field. Negate all other card effects on the field. That's pretty crazy. Okay, oh no, if you'd activate like spells and traps and whatnot to try to remove this from the field, if I were to try and like play some spell card to just kill it, that would get negated too. No, don't print this. I mean, sure, you can answer to this with things like Kaijus and Lava Golem and whatnot, but I see very few opportunities to actually get this off the field, so no. Or you just special summon something that's like 2500 attack or greater, that too. And then just punch over it, but still. That's just pretty, like, overall toxic card design. Negate all other card effects on the field. That's pretty toxic. I'm gonna say no still. Number 5, Utopic Zero Butter Spy. 2 level 4 wind monsters. Once per turn, you can detach one Exceeds material from this card, then target one face-up monster on the field, equip this card to it. While equipped with a wind monster. Okay, target one face-up monster on the field. It can be one of your own. In case your opponent's not playing wind monsters, if you want to start attacking directly. If the card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage with only 1200 attack to start. Attack directly, so... I guess if you want another means to easily just get into Zeus, this has you covered. Can attack directly and thus can just basically, like, not die in battle. Because it doesn't even have to attack your opponent's monsters. I mean, there are already, like, cards out there that can easily let you, like, get into Zeus. Exceeds monsters that can attack directly, or just... There's, like, one that can't be destroyed in battle, also. I think he's alright. Vanity's Fiend's Path, okay. You can discard one card, add one Vanity's Fiend or Vanity's Emptiness from your deck to your hand. One of those is banned, though. The latter being like a card that literally just makes it so nobody can special summon monsters. And if a card is put into the graveyard from anywhere, just sacrifice Vanity's Emptiness, but... You could basically just make all your plays going first, and then just, when your opponent has to, like, sort of, like, play to try and, like, deal with what you set up, you could just stop them from playing with Vanity's Emptiness. Like, you can summon, but they can't. That's why that card is banned. If you control a Vanity's Emptiness monster. You can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, apply its effect, depending on the number of Vanity's Emptiness cards you control. Which effect? You can only use this effect of Vanity's Fiend's Path once per turn. Vanity's Emptiness cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only activate... Does Vanity's Emptiness destroy itself? I mean, the card is banned. Like, it's literally, like, forbidden. It destroys itself if a card is sent from the deck or field to your graveyard. Well, not with this field spell. Vanity's Emptiness cannot be destroyed by card effects. A card that is just so degenerate that it's forbidden. Both in the West and the East. And there's a field spell that protects it from being destroyed by its own condition. No. I know, like, the card in question is banned that's being protected, but no. Spiral Commando, Earth Warrior, level 5. You can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard by sending one Spiral Gear monster from your hand to the graveyard. If you control a Spiral monster other than this one, you can special summon this card from your deck by banishing one Spiral monster from your hand. That's very interesting design space. Literally just go into your deck, pull out a monster, and summon it. I mean, it doesn't seem too crazy, aside from the literally just go into your deck and get your monster. Off the effect of a card that's activating in your deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have that, but it's interesting design space nonetheless. I'd be willing to see this, like, I'd be willing to see, like, that idea being given a try at least once. Just exercise with caution, though, because a card in your deck activating its effect to special summon itself from your deck. I can definitely see things go horribly wrong if it's not, like, very carefully balanced around the fact that it can basically just summon itself without you ever having to draw it. Oh, speaking of megaliths, here's one. Megalith Rudra, which is a synchro monster for some reason, not a ritual. Level 8 Earth Synchro, one Earth Tuner, one or more non-tuner Earth monsters. You could banish one Earth monster from your graveyard to target one with level 4 or lower Earth monster on the field. Increase that target's level by the level of the banished monster until the end of this turn. I'm not seeing anything too crazy so far, just changing monsters' levels. I guess probably to help with synchro summoning on a Megalith card that the archetype is about, like, ritual monsters, last I remembered. Yeah, they have, like, a bunch of, like, rocks that you just ritual summon. I think with any Megalith card. Or just Meteonis Tritron, because it can summon anything. If this card attacks a defense position monster, do piercing battle damage on 2,500 attacks. That's gonna come up more than on the 1,200 attack bird up guy. Increase that target's level by the... I see nothing crazy here. Dark Knight. Continuous trap. Each time a card or cards is banished, shuffle it into the deck at the end of the turn. I would not want to have to play against this as a Grand Maju player. I want to just make a big ass pile of banished cards. No, I can't. Dark Knight would literally just prevent me from playing like Grand Maju. While a Dark Magician is in your deck, how do we verify that a Dark Magician is in somebody's deck? Do we just have to routinely just have the opponent check your deck to verify if a Dark Magician is on it? Or do you have to like present your deck list to your opponent or something for them to verify that you in fact have at least one Dark Magician in your deck prior to like starting the duel? And then like if it ever like leaves the deck. No, let's say if like there's one Dark Magician in my deck and I for some reason have to show my deck list to my opponent to inform my opponent of the fact. Let's say it gets banished face down. And I know that Dark Magician is no longer in my deck, but they can't because these are face down banished cards, which isn't information available to them. How do you like... Basically your opponent would just have to take your word for it that you still have a Dark Magician in your deck. You could literally just lie. You could literally just cheat by lying, saying you still have this thing in your deck. Even though, like, you no longer do. For your opponent to not be able to normal or special summon monsters during the end phase. Usually, they're not really doing that. I'm gonna say no to the having to just figure out how the fuck we're supposed to just verify a certain card is just in a certain player's deck at all times. Like, how do you do that? Because the deck is not supposed to just constantly be looked at by your opponent. That's not how things work. Okay, I guess when you activate this, like, you show your opponent your deck. And if there's a Dark Magician in it, then basically apply this effect. Well, of course, you'd shuffle the deck after you're showing your opponent it, but your opponent basically... Do they just... I think they do. Basically would just get to look through the contents of your deck to verify that the Dark Magician is in fact there to apply an effect that probably won't really come up, because who's summoning during the end phase anyways? Yeah, I just see this being a rulings nightmare for an effect that's not even going to really come up. The Unhappy Diva. Fairy Fusion. 2 Uriah Lord of Searing Flames monsters. There's only 1 Uriah Lord of Searing Flames monster, and... Oh, so yeah, that's where the head is coming from. Unaffected by other cards' effects. Okay, just kaiju over it, it's gonna be fine. Each time a card or effect is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. Maximum of 3. This card gains 500 attack for each spell counter on it. When your opponent activates card or effect that targets a card you control. That has to target a card you control, though. You can remove 3 spell counters from your field. Then target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. Unaffected by other cards' effects. That's still really annoying. 2 Uriah Lord of Searing Flames monsters. But this is a fusion monster, and there are definitely ways to cheat it out. Cyberstein is a card that is very real. If you don't want to cheat out, I guess Naturia Exterio, maybe for some reason if you want to cheat this out. A 3200 attack beta that's unaffected by literally everything, except its own effects. Actually, no, like it's probably going to easily just go above 3200 attack whenever a card or effect is activated. And then, yeah, I could just go up to 4700 attack from its own effect, and still be unaffected by other effects. And not to mention it's also just interruption at quick effect speed. I'm gonna say no. I mean, I was initially gonna say this won't see play because of the fusion material requirements, but cards like Cyberstein exist, so you can figure something out, I guess. I can't tell which VTuber this looks like. I'm gonna say the dog one, Corone. I mean, I see like the two like crossed bones. Those are associated with dogs, so it's gotta be Corone recolored or something. Dressed up like Sonic the Hedgehog. Live twin Kisakil Hedgehog. Live twins are based on VTubers, so I can definitely see like where the AI was going with the art on this one. When this card's normal or special summon, you can target one Kisakil monster in your graveyard, except Live twin Kisakil Hedgehog. Special summon it. Cannot attack or be destroyed by your opponent's card effects this turn. During your main phase, you can send one level 4 or lower Kisakil monster from your deck to the graveyard, except another copy of this, draw one card. And that's a hard once per turn, that effect. I haven't been keeping up that much with the live twin monsters. I just think that they're cute and I want to just... yeah. I want to just, like, lie down and, and whatnot with them. But I don't know, like, if this card could be printed. Probably could. I'm not seeing anything, like, too crazy here, to be honest. I guess I'd approve it. Yeah, just saying, I've seen some, like, pretty, like, hot, like, live twin art. Watt ball. Okay, what the hell is going on here? We got a Wind Aqua Pendulum Union. There's a lot to take in here already. A Wind Aqua Pendulum Union. So, if you want to use this to Pendulum Summon, then you're locked into Pendulum Summoning Watt monsters, okay? Okay, so in the Monster Zone, up to twice per turn, you can either target one face-up monster you control, equip this card to it, or unequip this card and special summon to your side of the field. So I could just theoretically equip this card to one of my monsters just to resummon it if I want. Basically getting us nowhere. If the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle, destroy this card instead. Makes sense. For the rest of this turn, the effects of all face-up monsters you control are negated except Watt Ball. Wait, but why are we doing this? Negating the effects of all my other monsters just to give one of my monsters battle protection. Why would we do this? I mean, printing this wouldn't like completely fuck up the game, but why would you? I kind of want to say yes due to the fact that it's not going to break the game like in half. Yeah, because negating your own card effects is not something I want to be doing. Still gonna say no though. The Great Swamp of Ojama. Quick play spell. If you control no monsters, target one face-up monster on the field. So it's going to have to be one of your opponents. Because the condition is you control no monsters to use this thing. Special summon from your deck one monster with an attack equal to that target's defense in attack position. And one monster with defense equal to that target's defense in defense position. Yeah, you basically have to have monsters in your deck with identical, like, stats to, like, one of your opponent's monster's defense points. I mean, special summoning two monsters out of the deck is just so stupidly overpowered that if it were just that, obviously no, don't print it, but definitely making me think here because this probably would, let's say if it were a real card, would probably just fill some very specific niche. Would probably be some very specific counter and some very specific matchup, like one deck against another, just using this. Because attack and defense stats on, like, all the cards involved in that matchup just so have to line up perfectly. I don't know, I kind of want to just see something like this in action. As some weird niche card that maybe the perfect matchup will come for it in, like, 10 years. And then we ban it because it's proven to be too good. Shaman of the Tenyi, Memory of King Loeg. So we got a Worm Link monster. 2 Worm monsters accept tokens. If this card is Link summoned, you can add 1 Tenyi monster from your deck to your hand, except Shaman of the Tenyi, which I think is a Link monster? You can only use this effect of this card once per turn. A Worm monster Link summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. That was Link summoned gains this effect if it is Xyz summoned. If a Link monster was Xyz summoned, we just completely missed the mark here. It doesn't even matter what the rest of the card says, because it's never gonna come up. So basically, just you Link summon this, you just add a Tenyi from your deck to your hand. And then we just basically ignore the rest of the text on this, aside from the hard once per turn, of course. Then we just ignore the rest of it. Assuming we ignore the rest of this, sure. Because the rest of it is literally impossible to resolve. You cannot Xyz summon Link monsters. Endymion of the World. Got another normal monster. Level 5 with 1200 attack and 1000 defense. Wow. I don't know, unless somehow, like, you need level 5 monsters that are easy to summon. Then again, like, there's probably just so many more cards out there, like, I don't even think this can fill any niche. I can't believe this happened. You must have lived to tell me this is the end of the world. Endymion's effect monsters are no longer normal or special summoned. I mean, if we print it, it'll never do anything. I'm basically just leaning towards, like, no, you can't print it because it's gonna, like, just destroy the game. Or it's just literally, like, impossible to understand what it's even supposed to be trying to be doing. I'm basically just mostly saying no to, like, cards that are either, like, completely incomprehensible or which just would obviously, like, break the game in half. Like, basically, like, you activate it, you win the game. That kind of powerful. Endymion, the Mighty Master of Dark World. Fiend effect. If this card is normal or special summon, you can reveal 1 Dark World card or 1 Dark Magician in your hand. If you do, draw 1 card. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot declare an attack with a monster with the same name, except Dark World cards. Also, your opponent cannot activate cards or activate cards. Also... Wait, I need to read this again, the activate cards. Also, the card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, destroy this card. Which it won't destroy itself because it just made it so that it can't be destroyed by card effects. And if you do, so you don't destroy this card because it can't be destroyed, so your opponent doesn't take no further damage this turn. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Once each by its own effect. I want to read the cannot activate cards again. For the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards, so if you somehow just get this onto your field during your opponent's turn, like preferably right at the start of their turn, like cannot activate cards. I guess they can summon monsters, but can they just like not? Can they use like effects of monsters they summoned? I mean, this whole card design is just stupid. Makes itself impossible to be destroyed by battle or card effects, then tries to destroy itself. And something is supposed to happen if it does, but it can't destroy itself because it made it so it can't destroy itself. I'm just gonna like mainly say no because of your opponent can't activate cards. Or activate cards. I don't know, like that's just feels like it's just waiting to be abused. Arma Municlesia. Worm Xyz. 2 level 7 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material monster from this card. Special summon 1 monster from your deck. And if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect that targets a monster you control while this card is in your graveyard. You can detach 1... Wait, but it's in the graveyard, so it's not going to have Xyz materials on it. So it can't use its graveyard effect to revive itself, but it can special summon anything from your deck, and then that can't be destroyed by battle this turn. Any monster of your choosing from the deck, and also look at the materials, 2 level 7 monsters. We're set to get even more Kashtira support in Photon Hypernova, which is probably gonna come out in like a month from now. And even like with Darkwing Blast, like Kashtiras have like decent support already. They're an archetype revolved around summoning, mass summoning level 7 monsters. And then you could just go into this generic rank 7 to special summon anything you want from your deck. The possibilities are endless, so don't burn it. Just don't print it. Like, Kashtira is just gonna have like a crazy, like, special summon anything from the deck. I mean, they're already really good at pumping out level 7, so you don't need to give them like a summon anything from the deck for doing so. Yeah, I see so many ways that can be abused. Whether it be like cards that just don't let like anybody special summon, or don't let anyone play like spells or traps or whatnot. You can basically summon like any monster floodgate out of your deck. Oh look, your opponent needs to banish cards? Summon Chaos Hunter. Your opponent needs to activate spells? Spell Canceller. Your opponent needs to activate... No, say if they need to activate traps. Jinzo? If they need to like special summon like anything that's not wind. Wind Barrier Statue. You can summon anything! So no. Kazaki's Mousetrap. Normal trap. Tribute 1 Odd Eyes or 1 Scareclaw monster. Send 1 Morphtronic monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. And if you do, special summon 1 Odd Eyes monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And if you do not summon it, well, you just did summon the Odd Eyes monster. And if you don't summon a monster you already summoned, destroy a monster. Okay. And if you... yeah. Okay. This card is just such a mess. I'm still trying to just... Also, that doesn't really look like a mousetrap. No, not really. This card is still such a mess, though. I feel like I need to read it a few more times to understand what I'm actually looking at, and I'm still probably gonna just say no because I don't want to figure it out. Odd Eyes monster from your extra deck. I'm just gonna go look up and see what the targets are for this. Out of curiosity, but I'm already leaning towards saying no. Okay, we got 4 extra deck targets as of 2023. Okay, we got these ones too, apparently. Supreme King Odd Eyes. So summon any Odd Eyes from your deck, extra deck, with ignoring its summoning condition. So just cheat out an Odd Eyes extra deck monster. One of the 9 that exists. Not that big deal to cheat this out, because then it won't be unaffected. This will have no materials on it. This is in your extra deck at the start of the game, isn't it? Okay, this can't be cheated. This could be cheated out, right? Ignoring the summoning condition, so I think this could be cheated out. Oh, there's just too much text for me to read. Like, when my dad was playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, like, he used to complain about, like, some of the lengthy, like, he used to complain about some cards having, like, too much text. Back in, like, the 2000s and whatnot. This was, like, before Pendulums that started having, like, fucking 2 text boxes. And my dad used to think that, like, some Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are just, like, way too complex to read. I mean, if he thought, like, some of those cards back in, like, the 2000s were the quote-unquote Gettysburg Address, just... Then we started getting monsters with, like, 2 text boxes. Sometimes with microscopic text in both of them. Yeah, I honestly don't even feel like reading these. I'll just say no. Just too weird for me, I'm gonna say no. Psychic King Giantess. Might maybe read like 1 or 2 more cards at this point. And then probably, I think I'm gonna likely do another stream of me just reading these cards. And deciding should we print them, should they ever get printed or not. Psychic King Giantess, Psychic Effect. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a monster you control, you can discard this card and negate the activation if you destroy that card. Oh, so this is basically like a hand trap against, well, card or effect that targets a monster you control. There's lots of effects like that in the game. So this hand trap could just snipe. Discard this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So basically, they lose their monster effect, and they lose, like, the monster itself. We'll just assume it's a monster effect. If this card's discarded to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Special summon 2 Psychic King Giantess from your... Oh, and it's just gonna put 2 level 8 bodies on the board. After just negating your opponent's card effect, and if it was like a monster on board, they also do not have that resource. And you're just putting like 2 level 8s on the board. I was gonna probably say yes until I read that. I feel like, I don't know, this is just giving you like a bit too much advantage. Then again, there has to be like 2 of these still like in the deck. Like, if you draw 2 of these in your opening hand, then you can't do the summon from the deck, because it has to be like 2 specifically, but still. Way more likely, I think you're gonna open up 1 of these in opening 2. If this card is discarded to the graveyard, even if not by its own effect, even if just by any means, you can banish it, special summon 2 more of these from your deck. And I just love how they're up level 8s. Coming from a rank 8 Maju player, I just love how this is a level 8, so... I would fucking love to have this card and just try it out in Grand Maju, but I'm gonna just ultimately go no. Feels like it could get a little bit too out of hand. Might make rank 8 summoning a little bit too easy. But I would love to have this card. Green Dragon Archfiend. Level... Okay, it's a level 10. Level 10 Dragon Synchro. 1 tuner. Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This is a level 12, isn't it? And Dark Winged Dragon. I don't even know if that's a real card, but... I think I want to just, like, stop reading after Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So, the tuner... Okay, so this is a level 10. One of the materials is a level 12, unless you reduce its level somehow to maybe be able to get this into play. Unless, I don't know, you can just cheat this out of the extra deck. Okay, so we got a 3300 attack monster that cannot be destroyed by battle. Ooh, just what we need on a 3300 attack beater. Battle protection! Exactly what it needs! Once returned during your main phase 2, if you control this face-up card, you can tribute 2 monsters. This card gains 500 attack until the end phase. This is like after you've already attacked. This is after your battle phase. This thing would be a nightmare to summon to get a 3300 attack beater with battle protection that it probably doesn't need, because yeah, this will likely just run over most monsters anyways. And then if you control this face-up card, you can just tribute 2 monsters to make it gain 500 attack, which you're probably not going to be doing much with, because it can't attack with the 500 attack boost. It's in your main phase 2! I mean, if we print this, it'll probably likely just never do anything. I want to kind of just greenlight Green Dragon, because he's never going to do anything. The design is just terrible. I mean... I think I'm just going to say no, though, because of the materials required. I mean, if the materials were more generic, or one of them wasn't a fucking level 12, I would have said yes. Because I know, like, the card isn't just, like... The card isn't, like, overpowered. It's not, like, broken or anything. It's just... Like, why would you ever play this? trying to just actually use the Blue Eyes Almond Dragon as a material. Like, you'd have to just reduce its level, and like, not just by like 1 or 2 levels either. You have to really reduce its level. And then I gotta figure out what the Darkwinged Dragon is on top of that. I'm gonna see if that's even a real card. Darkwinged Dragon Collapse Serpent. No, that's just Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. So there is no Darkwinged Dragon. It's not even a real card. Closest thing that the closest thing that comes to mind is Blackwinged Dragon, and oh, that's a level 8 Synchro monster. So let's just assume this said like Blackwinged Dragon instead. So we have like a level 12 and a level 8, and then one tuner that'll have to be at least level 1, because yeah, like monsters typically need to have like at least level 1, unless they're like Linger Exceeds monsters. So yeah, good fucking luck summoning this 3300 attack monster with battle protection that can just give itself 500 more attack and not actually attack with it. Yeah, good luck. Anyone who wants to, good luck with that. Oh wow, I've been live for literally nearly 2 hours. I really got carried away with just these AI-generated Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Yeah, like huge shoutouts to the Twitter account here. Gave me like 2 hours of content, and it's probably honestly gonna give me more. Card text generated using GPT-2 Simple. So basically artificial intelligence just trained on loads of text, being taught to generate more text. And this specific model must have been given like shit tons of Yu-Gi-Oh cards to learn off of, to then just output more Yu-Gi-Oh cards. With some quite frankly hilarious results that could literally never see the light of day. Yeah, I'm gonna do this again, probably. Likely maybe sometime like this upcoming week I'm probably gonna do another of these.